Good afternoon, traders, and welcome to this week's market analysis class, Monday the 4th of September. Before we get started, as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Alright, let's get started, have a look at what we have on the agenda. We'll do a brief recap on what's happened last week, what the fundamentals are, what the hot talking points for the week are, and how we shall position ourselves to try and take best advantage of the situation. So we had non-farm payroll last week. The reality was the non-farm payrolls on Friday weren't very, in terms of the data itself, it was not very flattering data. It wasn't strong data. However, the US dollar did well out of it. I think predominantly the main reason for that was most investors or market players are in high anticipation of what will be said at FOMC meeting this month. I believe the number is at September 20th off the top of my head. I just need to check that. But either way, they're of the opinion that we could get some positive talks and the possibility of a rate increase. If it's not in September, possibly towards the end of the year, the December. But on the back of that hope, so to speak, the US dollar did well, which is a little bit strange. In other news last week, obviously the Canadian dollar has been very, very strong, but most of the other currencies finished where they were. The GBP's held its ground. It didn't get moved around against the US dollar like the other currencies. So it's showing a little bit of resilience there. We're just trading right now just under 130 level. So we move into this week. Let's have a look at what we have on the agenda. It's a big week. We actually have three central banks announcing monetary policies and rate decisions, so it should be impacting for the market. So let's start off and have a look. We'll start with the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar has got a whole bunch of data, so please look out for that. Most important one, of course, is tomorrow, which is the first Tuesday of the month, which is the day that the RBA makes its rate announcement and interest rate decision. Now, of the three central banks that are making a rate decision, the Aussie, or the RBA, should I say, is probably going to be the least impacting of the three. No one's really expecting a rate movement, and it's not. We don't think it's going to have the same impact as other times. We also have GDP numbers, retail sales, and trade balance. Of course, so trade balance from China as well, which affects the Aussie dollar. And Governor Lowe will be speaking towards the end of the week. So that's Aussie dollar. Canada. Canadian economy has been it's the best performing economy of the G7 nations. They have a trade balance rate decision on Thursday midnight, or should I say Wednesday midnight, and unemployment change towards the end of the week. So we all know that the Canadian Bank of Canada did increase rates a couple of months back. In recent times, the economic data that's been released has been strong. So they have a very, very good reason to possibly hint at or even shock the market, surprise, and make a second increase in interest rates. So keep an eye out on that one. This is probably going to be the most impacting of the three central banks that are making a monetary policy announcement. So that's the Canada. GBP has a little bit of data, nothing major. We have PMI tonight for construction, then we have services PMI Tuesday, and at the end of the week we have the manufacturing production. So nothing major, but still data releases. And finally, the euro, we have a monetary policy and interest rate decision on Thursday. For the euro, again, possibly no one's really expecting that there will be an interest rate movement. However, what's going to be key here is how they treat the topic about unwinding their tapering, their monetary tapering policies. So they have said in the past that they were considering unwinding, which basically means strength for the euro. What everybody's going to be looking for here is how they address that, if they give us a hint, and the timing of such an event should it be announced. So that could move the euro. What could happen is if they treat this very hawkish, we could see the euro shoot through to new highs again. However, if they express a little bit of concern and no real hurry for tapering, well then the euro could drop back down again. Okay, not to probably the 117 level, around about there somewhere. All right, so there you have it. That's from Europe. That's on Thursday. Now, I guess from all that info and the data releases, probably the currency pair that is going to be affected the most. It's not a major, it's what we would call an exotic or a secondary, is the Aussie CAD. So if anybody trades the Aussie CAD, this one should get the most movement this week because we have both those central banks making announcements and a whole bunch of other hot data releases from those two countries. Now, don't forget, guys, that there are 3 central banks that are making a rate decision, so take note of that. That's the Australian RBA, the Bank of Canada, and the ECB in Europe. Okay, as always, guys, these times are in my local time, so that's Australian Eastern Standard Time, so please make an adjustment so that you know where you are and where it's happening. Okay, let me bring my charts forward. Let's start to analyze the markets. If you have questions, please type them in and I'll do my best to answer them as we go along. Let's start off with the Aussie dollar. Okay, so Aussie dollar. Last week on the Aussie dollar, I drew in this box because I get the feeling the market is going to range a little bit. We have not breached that area as yet. We've pushed up and down, but basically haven't really gone anywhere. On a daily chart, really right now, Aussie dollar, there is really nothing to be had. Let me just have a quick look at a 4-hour. I just want to see if there's anything that sparks my interest. No, there's nothing here as well, so this is awkward. Let's see what those lines are again. Okay, so look, there's a couple of things I'm still keen to wait for this level. We haven't reached it, so should the market come up to that level, let me just redraw that a little bit nicer. Should the market come up to this line that I've got drawn in here and produce some kind of price action, I would be interested in a sell situation if I get the correct price action at that level. So other than that, there is really nothing to be had. I did say last week, look out for the possibility of maybe something here to shoot towards it, but it never arrived. We didn't get any setups of that candle combination. So essentially it's a no action week for the Aussie dollar and it remains that way, so let's just keep it going. Let's see what happens on this perimeter, which would be around about the 80-50 level, okay, which is a high as well, could act as a bit of a double top as well. So let's see what happens if we get to this level and we can find some kind of price action to shoot us back down in the other direction. Euro USD. Okay, Euro USD. Well, while the trend is there, we just keep on trading it. Unfortunately, we did not get a setup of this little candle sequence right there. Otherwise, I would have been interested in taking that as a trade. Let's take a closer look. Let me just try and see if I can get some kind of a support line here. I just have the urge to try and draw one in. Okay, depending on sort of what, if we really have reached the top, I can kind of see this pattern. I don't know why, but that's what I can see. Obviously, I can't trade that, not just yet, but it's in the back of my mind, so I will flag this line is helping me see it a little bit better. If there's anybody that wants to trade a 4-hour chart, there's a weird, no, it doesn't match up. Okay, no, nothing there. Okay, as you can see here, this whole region when the market fell, there is really, we're in a big air gap, so it's very difficult for me to try and pick tops and try and trade against that trend. So possibly this level, but that's a long time ago. That level there. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to catch, I'm on a weekly chart by the way right now, just to finding levels. I don't really like that. It's not strong enough, so I'll delete it. Okay, so whilst we're in trend, keep looking for trend trades, see if they come around. But the next thing to look out for is if we see a higher high, and then we make a lower high like that, then that gives us that pattern. And then if we break it, that's the trade that we're looking for. That's the hottest trade that I can see here. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it is that it's about to turn around, this is the pattern that will basically confirm it for us a little bit better. Alright, so Euro USD right now, if I keep seeing entries this way, I will continue to go in that direction. But what we should do is just be wary of the highs, and let's see if we continue to break them and make newer highs, well then we just keep going with it. But if it's all of a sudden it starts to stop, then let's see if we can see a trade in the other direction. Okay, so nothing else happening on the Euro USD. Let me move on. GBPUSD now. Okay, I've got this channel that I drew. We did pick up one trade over here already, and now all of a sudden it's just got into a real tight section. Let's go to a 4-hour. Let's have a look what's happening in there. So there's not much movement in this area here. Oh, these are real horrible charts today. If anybody has seen something or is spotted something that I cannot see, just flag it for me, and I'm happy to look at it. Okay, GBP USD. Look, we are right in the middle of a channel, so there's nothing we can really do. Okay, so we either need to wait for it to come down and try and take a trade here, which doesn't look as good when it does that. It's the other side which will look a little bit better. But either one, we're trying to trade off the fringes, so let's wait and see if we do get anything off that. But where we are right now, we're right in the middle. We cannot do anything. Okay, so sometimes when the charts aren't showing you exactly what you're looking for, this is when I tend to deviate and go look at other currency pairs. If I really want to get a trade away, like I'll look at other currency pairs, and that's kind of what I do when I do the daily chart of the day. If I can't see something in the charts that we normally look at in the majors, then I deviate and go look for something somewhere else. Okay, US yen. Okay. Alright, so this is, remember the bouncy ball effect. It has come lower. See that one there? It has come lower, so it is playing out. Let's see if it falls. Okay, but it's been very resilient right now. It tried to go through right here, that big tail, and then basically it got bought up really hard. Let's see if it comes here again. Let's see if it can give us this option. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. Okay, so, but I need a good confirmation for it. There was this one last week. Because of the size of the candle, I didn't really like it. This happened on a Tuesday, I believe. But let's see what happens over here. Okay. US yen. That's on a daily. Okay. Let's have a look at the Euro yen. Oh, have we got something here? These kind of patterns like this, it's a shame because they're very, very close, but they're not quite what we are specifically looking for. So let's it's unfortunate, but we didn't get a trade there. That's on a daily. That region though that I've marked out seems to be holding, so it would not surprise me if this comes back to this level and then shoots off again in that direction. So I'll definitely be looking for this trade. Okay, so it's a pattern that I've seen many times when a market trends away. Look, it's started from all the way down here, and then when it starts to run out of legs, it can consolidate for a bit before it continues, or exhaustion, and it starts to come back down. Okay, so I'm keen to see what happens when the market reaches this level to see if I can possibly get this trade away. Alright, but right now at this particular point in time there is nothing available for me. Let's have a look at the Kiwi dollar. Okay, we should be in this trade. We traded a head and shoulders of this one. There's the head, and then basically there's the trade. So we triggered about here, went backwards initially, but the trade's moving forward. What you can do with this type of trade, the original stop would have been there. You can move it down to the next fractal and just try and follow yourself down. Remember, the expectation is this. So it's that level down there. Let's see if it does play out or not. If it does, then that's what we would call a perfect head and shoulder pattern. But at the moment, we're currently in this one, so there's nothing really to do on this particular chart. Is anybody still in this trade, short Kiwi dollar? Can I just get a show of hands? Who is it? Who's holding this trade? Okay, Rav's got it. Andrew's on. Okay, there's a few of you that are on this trade. But it's a very, very classic pattern, the head and shoulder. Alright, let me move on. USCAD. Okay, this pattern has now, let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, it's important for me to highlight this level here. See how I drew this line across there. Alright, now let me zoom back in. Remember, I told you this pattern feels like it's that bouncy ball kind of effect. It comes down, bounces, shot up, and it's kind of shot through now. We do have the Bank of Canada monetary meetings, etc. So if this has a little bit of a kick and then we get that right combination of announcements, we could be down into this direction, and that would be like that. Seen this trade many times. Just knowing how to possibly take advantage. There was here a big engulfing candle. Did anybody trade that engulfing candle there in this direction? So it would have been a brave trade, that one, because it kind of feels like you're trading into a floor. I did not take it, so I'm just seeing it right now. But this is an interesting pattern, so just make it part of your archives so that when you see it again, that kind of bouncing ball that falls off the edge of the table. And it feels like it's at the point where it's falling off the edge of the table right now. Okay, all right. This trade over here, Rav, is this the one that you're talking about, the one that was earlier? Yes, thank you. Okay, so yeah, that Rav just reminded me that we actually traded this body engulfing candle because into the trend we had enough and we would have hit target already on that one. So thank you for that. Okay, I forgot totally about that particular trade. All right, so the USCAD is one-way traffic. Canadian fundamentals from Canada are super strong. So if we get more of that, we could see this continue down. Okay, so let's wait and see what happens there. Let's have a look at gold. Okay, would gold be considered safe haven or non-safe haven? What do we think? Safe haven, yes, or safe haven, no? What do we think? Yes or no? Okay, so unanimous. Everybody is telling me that it's safe haven. Um, all the missile testing in North Korea and the tensions, what does that do to the market? It kind of spooks it. So when the market is spooked, where do they want to move money? Money wants to move to safe havens, commodities. So it's not a surprise that gold is rallying at the moment. Okay, and this candle is a breaking candle on that top. I did mention it last week. I don't know if anybody traded it. There's not many gold traders in our group here, but if anybody did, it's a little bit of a courageous trade because you kind of feel like, oh, you're huffing and puffing and huffing. It's not going to go anymore, but look, it's still continued to go so far. All right. At the moment, with this particular one, let me just zoom out. Let me see if there's any head traffic. A bit of a gap there as well. Okay, if I wanted to trade gold, what I would be looking for is just look for it to pull back a little bit, give me some kind of the price action that I'm looking for, and then continue into the trade. All right, so that's what I would be looking for. It is the highest probability type trade available on this particular chart. Okay, so that's gold. Let's have a look at oil. Okay, this market is definitely getting narrower. The highs are getting lower and the lows feel like they're getting higher. So I naturally want to start to merge this in. Now I had this line above there, but we never came up to it. So I was hoping that when the market went here, we were going to meet it, but we never did. So let me just redraw. Let me see what if I can catch them all three. Not quite. I can leave that one out. Okay. So if there's someone very adventurous, you could try and trade these two right now. There's an inside candle, okay, but it's only the second touch. So this is touch 1 and touch 2. So remember, like if this just turns around and keeps going down, then it's not really a touch. So that's very aggressive. But if there's someone out there that is aggressive, there is an inside candle right there. These two that I'm showing you. But the first trade that we can see here is over here. right over there and trade it back down into this direction. Okay, so I'll leave these two lines there, set up as such. This is it's a really nice converging triangle type trade. It looks really set. The pattern, we've seen this pattern many times, guys. So you've got two options here. We can trade on the fringe inside the triangle, and then if there's any breakout traders, then of course you can trade the breakout whichever direction we break out of. Okay, all right. Someone's asking me, have we got divergence on this? Let's have a look. This is not the best indicator for divergence. This is a CCI indicator. It's not an RSI. So if you want to have a look at divergence, the one that I like is go to Bill Williams, go to your awesome oscillator. This one here. So what we would be looking at, so if we're looking for divergence, so we're going to compare this level, so which is down here, with this one, and then this one here, so with this one. See, they're both moving up, so there's no divergence there. Okay, zero divergence. An example of divergence is actually over here. Look at this one here. It lines up with this one down here, and then this one here lines up with this one here. Now the indicator is going upwards, but the price is going downwards. That's divergence, and hence it turned around. Does that explain it, guys? Andrew, are you asking what divergence is? For those of you who don't know what divergence is, it's basically when the technical indicators are indicating one thing and the price is doing the opposite, and then basically there'll be a correction where they join up again together. All right, so kind of think of it like let's say, I don't know, I'm trying like an elastic band. It's moving in one direction, and the symptoms are going in the other direction, and then they eventually got to come back into balance. So, and the way they come back into balance is by a movement in the market. So the easiest way to describe it is look at your prices, like your chart, and you compare it with these. If I draw a line over here, let me just draw a line. So this is I'm trying to draw a line here, okay, and compare it to your chart line. So if you compare that high straight down here with this high there, then you compare it with the next high with this high over here, and you can see when I put a line through these two here, that's going down, this is going down as well, so that's normal. Okay, if they're doing the opposite, that is not normal, and this is what we call divergence. Alright, I may need to do a class on divergence. I haven't done it for a while. So some of you guys who've been with me for a long time understand what I'm talking about. If you're new and you're a little bit confused, I'll try and pull something up for you and send it out to you. Okay, so just send me an email and I'll see what I can find. Okay? Alright, so that is our... Okay, so if anybody wants me to have a look at something, please yell out, and I've got a little bit of time. If you want me to cover something that you were going through that you didn't understand, that you want me to look at, I'm more than happy to do that as well. But this week the charts are really, really hopeless. So what I'll do is I'll show you how I scan the market if you want. So I've just changed my profile. So when I can't find what I'm looking for on one chart, then what I basically do is I just go to another profile and I just change charts until I find something that is interesting to me. So I just scan And when I find something that I like, then I just stop and I analyze it. So my eyes, you get good at it. Your eyes basically just scan away, and you can see things. Okay, so this is an interesting pattern here. What is this? Swiss yen. First thing that I want to do on a pattern like this is I want to draw a line here. Okay, and if there's an opportunity anywhere there to get a trade in this direction, it's something that will complete your head and shoulder. Okay, so is there anything in there? No, there isn't. It's unfortunate, but that would be something that I would be interested in. All right, so basically, so that's what I do. I just scan until I can find something. All right. Anybody want me to have a look at something? GBPUSD, someone is saying. Let me find that GBPUSD. Here we go. There it is. Wow, even the CAD's even had its way with the GBP as well, because the GBP has been a bit resilient. So, okay, let me just zoom out a little bit more. Just purely off that, that's a trend trade, and it's already engulfing there in this direction. So I would be in a trade already if I was trading GBPUSD. Okay, so very clear that this is in trend. Let me just change my profile back to the other ones that I was on, and I'll show you there. See, if you look at this chart here, it's very, very clean, very clear that, we're in trend there. So this is a really nice engulfing candle that should have been traded. Okay, so if I was looking at this, that right now I just would be hoping that we get through that level, and that really opens up the flood door to hit my targets on that trade. Any other pair, guys? Let me have a look at the ASX. I'm interested in that. Oh, we've what a horrible chart. We talked about this one last time, and we said if anybody really wanted to trade in there, trade the noise. You can range trade. Just drop in a couple of time frames and then just try and hit trades in there. Until it breaks out of that area. Okay, someone says the DAX. Let me see the DAX. Okay, DAX is trending nicely. It's starting to trend down. So we're looking for sells. Okay, so it's nothing here right now. But okay, but you're looking for sells on this one. You just got to wait for the candle setups that we're looking for. Silver. Sure, let's have a look at silver. Again, it's a commodity. It's recovering as we go into safe haven mode. It's picking up. There's no trades right now, so the only thing with silver is just keep an eye on these levels, these high levels here. They may offer a little bit of resistance. Is Palladium in trend? Let's take a look. What do we think, guys? Is this trend? Is it in trend? Yes or no? Yes, definitely in trend. Let me just zoom out a bit more to see and it's taken out a high as well. So we're in no man's land. It's so when you hit fresh highs and you're in trend, just keep hitting the trend trades, you know. That's the best you can do. When you when you start getting good at the system, you don't have to wait for a fractal on every trade setup. Like for example, that's an entry there. Okay, you get other ones that don't have the fractals, but they're still low points. You can see that the market comes down, comes down, comes down, comes down, and continues up. All right, so just feel free to experiment with that. If you're not sure, send me a screenshot. I'm more than happy to look at it for you and comment on it. Okay. All right. So yes, this is in trend. It's just broken new highs, and it's also coming close to that 1,000 level. So we're at 989. So oh, how far? We're a bit far off it. No, not that far. So we're close. So that'll be a psychological level as well. So look for some kind of a resistance, natural resistance at the 1,000s, purely because it's psychological. All right. Okay, I think we've pretty much covered most things this week. As always, if you do have questions, screenshot them, email them to me, and I'll do my best to respond. I do respond. Um, Question: with cryptocurrencies, do you trade in the same way? Okay, regardless of the instrument, Andrew, a chart is still a chart, and a chart represents human behavior. So, for example, if we talked about a candle shape, let's talk about this candle right here. Would everybody agree that this is a very strong bull candle? What do we think? Definitely, it's a very strong bull candle. So essentially, what that means is, so if this is a daily chart, it basically means that the entire market pretty much went in one direction. Okay, so it doesn't matter if they went in one direction buying gold or buying cryptocurrencies or buying BHP shares. So it just means that the momentum was all in one direction. So when we look at charts, the only thing that I will say when we look at different instruments like a cryptocurrency or a share or something like that, if you start to look at small time frames like a 5 minute chart or something like that, then yes, it can affect it, okay, because then things like liquidity and things of that nature affect it. But if we're looking at a daily candle, then the principles should remain fairly uniform. All right. Question: where could I find how to trade with fractals? Carlos, there's a strategy that I use called the T Chaser. Have a look in the portal, look for it, and I utilize the fractals to stop management. Okay, you can see that. If you're not sure where to find that, just whoever has invited you to today's class, ask them, and they'll be able to help you out. Couple of other questions. Can you check the Bitcoin chart? Yeah, give me one moment, I will. Will the markets be volatile this month because the traders are coming back from their summer holidays? Interesting question. Look, traditionally it's August, the month of August. I don't know why, but traditionally August, which has just gone by, is a slow, low volatility month. No one can really explain it. And maybe it is because a lot of Europe is on holidays and they're relaxed. So we do see September pick up more compared to August, but it's more because August is so low than to say that September is higher than other months. So does that make sense, Rav? I'm just trying to explain it, but it is a phenomenon that is known and people are aware of that. Okay. As Bitcoin. Okay, let me have a quick look at Bitcoin. Where is, let me show. Okay. Now, if you guys with the cryptocurrencies, they have different leverages to everything else. They have different rules to everything else. So please be aware of those. So, and what I would suggest is if you're not familiar with them, go do some demo trades on them and get familiar with them. Okay, but this is, so here's Bitcoin. So let me, this is just rising, rising, rising. So we're definitely like in uptrend, so I'd be looking for buy opportunities. I wouldn't be interested in selling at all. Okay, there you have it. Okay, any other questions? No? Where do we find out the rules for cryptocurrencies? Good question. There should be in our PDS. Okay, so send an email to whoever who your account manager is, and we'll organise to send it to you. But they should be available in the PDS. And then I know that I recently just lodged one on Friday. Okay, so I just got to double check that it's posted up already because they're brand new, the cryptocurrencies. Okay, so have a look at it there. Okay, guys, well, we'll wrap up, call it a week. I'll talk to you on the daily call every morning. So if you're enjoying the service, if you use it, if you want to give me any feedback on, if you have suggestions, it's only like a short 3-4 minute video, but it does take me like 40 minutes to produce because I've got to go and find the information and take the time to find the chart. Sometimes it takes me a while to find the chart. I scan through pretty quickly, but I try to find an interesting one that's hopefully can play out for us all. All right, guys, have a great week. Like I said, I'll talk to you on the daily call. Otherwise, I'll talk to you next week for the market analysis. Have a great week. Speak soon. Bye for now.